A music video shoot in a secluded Essex car park turned deadly when 30-year-old Stephen Morrisson arrived unexpectedly. Minutes later, he was fatally stabbed, and his killer left the scene. It would take 6 years, 200 hours of CCTV, and more than 1,000 exhibits to uncover the truth and secure justice. Welcome to Mortem. This is the murder of Stephen Morrisson and the 6-year investigation that finally brought his killer to justice. On June 23, 2020, a group of performers, models and production workers traveled from London to Essex to film a music video. The production involved drill rapper Ellis Heather, who was also known professionally as Rack 5 or Rax LC. Heather and fellow rapper Jonas Germa had helped organize the filming. The crew brought cameras, technical equipment, vehicles and live reptiles intended to appear as props. These reportedly included large snakes and a Komodo dragon. After filming at one Essex location, the group moved to the Wake Valley car park, close to the Wake Arms roundabout on Epping New Road. The secluded car park provided the type of outdoor setting the production required. Cameras were prepared, performers took their positions and filming began. But the production would soon be interrupted by the unexpected arrival of 30-year-old Stephen Morrisson. Stephen was known to his family and friends as Steve. He was a son, brother, father and uncle. He also maintained a presence on YouTube and Snapchat and sometimes appeared in his brother's music videos. He was known online as Zero Ellis. Stephen's family later described him as happy, funny and larger than life. His mother, Lorraine, said his death created an enormous absence within their family. That evening, Stephen arrived at the car park in a Vauxhall Corsa. He had not traveled there as a member of the production and had no scheduled role in the video. Witness testimony indicated that Stephen attracted the attention of the filming group through his behavior around the location. One witness described him as loud and said he struck his head against a tree. Stephen then drove around the tree before moving his car towards members of the group. According to the witness, people were forced to move out of the vehicle's path. She believed Stephen might have been trying to frighten the group. The car stopped sharply without striking anyone. A confrontation followed. The situation escalated quickly. During the encounter, Ellis Heather was armed with a knife. He moved towards Stephen and fatally stabbed him. At sentencing, Judge Mark Leclerc KC rejected any suggestion that the killing was justified. He described it as a moment of extreme violence and said Heather had used the knife to deadly effect. Despite being seriously injured, Stephen managed to leave the car park and seek help. He reached a nearby petrol station, where emergency assistance was requested. Stephen was transported to hospital, but doctors could not save him. He died later that evening. What had begun as a music video production had become a murder investigation. Heather and other members of the production left the car park. A woman who had attended the shoot later told investigators that she traveled with Heather to a rural location. Prosecutors alleged that Heather disposed of the murder weapon there, and that a stained cloth was thrown from the vehicle. During the journey, the vehicle reportedly traveled at high speed. The witness said Heather became ill and asked her to take control of the car. She also recalled Heather referring to the killing using slang for murder. The alleged weapon was no longer at the scene. The production group had dispersed, and detectives faced the challenge of identifying precisely what had happened and who was responsible. Essex police launched a murder investigation on the night Stephen died. Heather was initially arrested within days of the killing. However, building a case capable of proving murder beyond reasonable doubt would take considerably longer. The car park contained multiple people, vehicles and pieces of production equipment. Investigators had to determine where everyone had been positioned, reconstruct movements before and after the confrontation, and assess accounts provided by witnesses. Detectives began gathering CCTV from the surrounding area. They followed the journeys made by the people and vehicles connected to the video shoot. More than 200 hours of CCTV footage were eventually examined. Officers also seized and reviewed over 1,000 exhibits, including approximately 50 mobile phones, almost 40 computers or digital devices, and 5 vehicles. Each device potentially contained communications, photographs, location information, or media capable of helping detectives reconstruct the events. The investigation continued for years, much of it away from public view. Heather's own music-related activity became part of the prosecution's case. The court heard that he subsequently boasted about the killing and mocked Stephen's family in a music video. This material was not treated simply as fictional music. Prosecutors presented it alongside witness testimony, digital evidence, CCTV, and Heather's actions following the confrontation. The sentencing judge later referred directly to Heather's boasting and his treatment of Stephen's family. For Stephen's relatives, the material deepened their pain. They were already living with the loss of a loved one while waiting to learn whether anyone would be held accountable. Heather remained under investigation following his original arrest. In July 2025, more than 5 years after Stephen's death, he was arrested again. He was subsequently charged with murder. Jonas Germa, who had also been involved in organizing the video production, was charged and placed on trial alongside Heather. Both men denied murder. The case eventually reached the Central Criminal Court, commonly known as the Old Bailey. During the trial, jurors heard evidence about the planning of the video shoot, the exotic animals brought to the location, and Stephen's unexpected arrival. They were shown how the confrontation developed and heard testimony about Heather's actions during and after the attack. The prosecution argued that Heather had used a knife against Stephen without lawful justification, and then left the location without showing concern for him. The defense had the opportunity to challenge the evidence and present its case. After considering the evidence, the jury reached different decisions concerning the two defendants. On June 23, 2026, exactly 6 years after Stephen's death, Ellis Heather was found guilty of murder. Jonas Germa was found not guilty and cleared. For Stephen's family, the verdict brought the first significant measure of closure after 6 years of uncertainty. They said that their family finally had some peace and that Stephen had received the justice he deserved. But they also made clear that no verdict could remove the pain of losing him. Ellis Heather returned to the Old Bailey for sentencing on July 17, 2026. The judge also criticized Heather for leaving the scene without concern for Stephen and later boasting about the killing. Heather was sentenced to life imprisonment. He must serve a minimum of 28 years before he can be considered for parole. The minimum term does not guarantee his release after 28 years. It marks the earliest point at which the parole board may assess whether he can safely be released. The sentence formally concluded the 6-year murder investigation. At the sentencing hearing, Stephen's mother, Lorraine, spoke for the family. She described Stephen as a son, brother, father, and uncle whose memory the family works to preserve for his young son, nieces, and nephews. Children born after his death would never have the opportunity to meet their uncle. At weddings, celebrations, and other family occasions, Stephen's absence remained visible. The family continued placing his photograph where he should have been sitting. Their statement demonstrated the permanent consequences of a violent decision that unfolded within only a few moments. Detective Chief Inspector Greg Wood, who led the investigation, said the sentence marked the conclusion of a long and difficult journey. 6 years after Stephen Morrisson left that location desperately seeking help, the man responsible for killing him was finally sentenced. Mortem breakdown. Motive. The murder developed from a sudden confrontation at the filming location. There was no evidence that Heather traveled there intending to attack Stephen. 4 out of 10. Operations. The attack was not proven to have been planned. However, Heather left the scene and was linked to attempts to dispose of the weapon and other potential evidence. 5 out of 10. Reach. The violence occurred in a public car park occupied by a sizable filming crew, placing several witnesses close to the confrontation. 5 out of 10. Terror impact. The murder devastated Stephen's family and transformed a planned music video production into a 6-year homicide investigation. 7 out of 10. Execution style. Heather used a knife during a rapidly escalating confrontation and inflicted a fatal injury. 6 out of 10. Mindset. His departure without concern for Stephen, reported boasting and later mockery of the victim's family demonstrated a disturbing lack of remorse. 8 out of 10. Stephen was more than the victim in a criminal case. He was a son, brother, father, and uncle whose place in his family can never be replaced. Thank you for watching Mortem. Subscribe for more factual crime documentaries where we examine the evidence, the investigation, and the pursuit of justice. Remember to stay aware and stay informed.